Ever heard a whisper that wasn't there? Or felt a chill on a warm Friday night? Or revisited the fears of your childhood? You've just stepped into the world of scarier things. Today, we're descending into the depths of terror with 3 disturbing real basement horror stories. Our first tale, Whispers from the Basement, a haunting homecoming, will make you question every sound you hear in the silence. Next, we'll unravel the fortnight frights, unraveling the mystery of the chilling Friday night, a story that turns a game into a nightmare. Finally, we'll confront the Basement Chronicles, echoes of childhood fears, a tale that proves some fears never fade. So brace yourself, the descent into darkness begins now. First story. When my grandparents passed away, my parents decided not to sell their house but let me live in it. It seemed like a great idea at first, enjoying the freedom of living alone. However, the solitude started to take its toll. To fill the void, I adopted a 2-year-old German Shepherd named Rocky, inspired by the legendary Rocky Balboa. Rocky, a typically gentle German Shepherd, rarely barked unless provoked or engaged in play. I provided him with a cozy doggy bed next to mine and kept the bedroom door open so he could get water at night. One evening, I was awakened by Rocky's frantic barking echoing through the house. Concerned, I ventured out to investigate, rubbing my eyes as I walked down the hallway. To my surprise, Rocky was barking and clawing at the basement door. Uncertain about what to do, I usually relied on my dad for such situations, but now I had to handle it myself. Terrified, I debated whether to face whatever was down there alone or let Rocky accompany me. Opting for the latter, I cautiously opened the door, allowing Rocky to charge down the stairs. I followed suit, turning on the lights, but Rocky had fallen silent, adding to my anxiety. Calling his name, I found Rocky standing still with his tail between his legs, staring at a corner of the room obscured by a wall. The source of his distress became apparent: a closet door. Rocky, displaying a brief burst of confidence, quickly reverted to his timid self. My mind raced, debating whether to open the closet door and confront the unknown. Unsure of Rocky's nature, I erred on caution and decided against it. Instead, I led Rocky back upstairs, closing the basement and bedroom doors. Concerned, I phoned my dad, who suggested arming myself and investigating the basement. Fearful, I admitted my reluctance, but during our conversation, I noticed the basement door was open. Suspecting someone else in the house, I alerted my dad, who advised calling the police. As I hung up, I heard footsteps approaching the front door. Panicking, I informed my dad, who urged me to contact the authorities. By the time the police arrived, the intruder had vanished. Unfortunately, a significant amount of cash I had left downstairs was missing, and the open basement window revealed the point of entry. It turned out to be a burglary that happened while I was at home, a chilling experience that left me questioning the choices I made that night. Second story. Just a mere fortnight ago, an unsettling and harrowing incident unfolded, shattering the illusion of security within the confines of my own home. Despite having outgrown some childhood fears, the lingering unease and apprehension still held sway, particularly when finding myself alone. It was on a chilling Friday night that the chilling events transpired, immersing me in the world of a popular first-person shooter game, Fortnite. Our expansive basement, housing the grandest television set, often served as my chosen realm for gaming adventures. In the midst of the virtual battleground, with headphones enveloping my senses, an unexpected thump from behind disrupted the virtual warfare. Intrigued yet not overly alarmed, I detached myself from the immersive audio and turned my attention to the cluttered expanse of the basement. The disarray and disorder discouraged any thorough investigation, and I reassured myself that the disconcerting sound was likely of benign origin. However, the lingering sense of unease persisted, casting a shadow on my ability to fully immerse myself in the gaming experience. Opting to play with the headphones off an attempt to heighten my awareness, I was met with an intentional metallic clink that reverberated through the space, sending involuntary shivers down my spine. The eerie resonance left me unsettled and prompted a cautious approach to the backside of the basement. There, my gaze fixated on a substantial metal air vent nestled in the corner. As I stood in contemplation, a hand emerged from the vent, gesturing for my attention, accompanied by a deep, raspy voice that pleaded for assistance. Shock and paralysis gripped me as the surreal nature of the situation unfolded. In a frantic state, I vocalized my intent to summon law enforcement, only to be met with the persistent and aggressive shaking of the vent. True to my word, I swiftly dialed emergency services, who, in turn, instructed me to secure myself in an upstairs room armed with a defensive tool. The escalation of terror reached new heights as unmistakable sounds of a door being violently breached downstairs echoed through the house. A menacing and frenzied voice accompanied the clamor, uttering threats of imminent harm. The intruder's frenetic ascent up the stairs intensified my desperation. The relentless pounding on the door reverberated with such force that I feared its structural integrity would give way. Faced with a sense of urgency, I resolved to evade through a window, landing amidst the bushes below. Fortuitously, as I took refuge outdoors, the timely arrival of a police car added a layer of security to the unfolding nightmare. Seeking refuge in the arms of the officers, I implored them to swiftly apprehend the intruder who had turned my sanctuary into a scene of terror. Adhering to their instructions, I waited in the protective confines of the police car as the officers confronted and subdued the assailant. The haunting memory of his malevolent stare lingered, casting a long and dark shadow over my sense of security, forever altering my perception of the once familiar basement space. Third story. The narrative I am about to unfold delves into the recesses of my childhood, an era spent within the confines of our erstwhile residence. My brother and I, in those tender years, established a regular haunt in the basement, a veritable haven where our father had curated an enclave of amusement. Equipped with a hockey table, pool table, and a gaming haven centered on the Super Nintendo system, this subterranean abode was the backdrop to countless joyous moments. Yet, amid the laughter and play, a series of disconcerting incidents unfolded, casting an ominous shadow over what was once our cherished domain. The inaugural unnerving episode took place during an intense gaming session, where a racing game on the Super Nintendo held our attention. Abruptly, a distinctive sound reverberated through the basement, the unmistakable slam of the door leading to the boiler/laundry room. Instinctively, my brother and I, caught in the grip of trepidation, called out for our mother, suspecting her presence within. Yet, the room stood in eerie darkness, devoid of any human presence. A swift, terror-fueled retreat ensued as we sprinted upstairs, leaving behind a tableau of gaming devices still aglow. Our parents, perhaps attributing the disturbance to mere childish antics, ventured into the basement to find it eerily deserted. Fast forward a few months to a night ensconced in the embrace of darkness. As I traversed the halls, the basement door loomed, and an unmistakable sound emanated, a resonant click, signifying the activation of the television downstairs. Calls to my mother, father, and brother echoed through the empty corridors, met with a resounding silence. Jolted by this mysterious occurrence, I roused my parents from their slumber, only to be met with irked expressions at being disrupted. The incident was casually dismissed as a glitch in the aging TV. A succession of peculiar events followed, culminating in the final and most disconcerting episode. In the waning days before our migration to a new dwelling, where most of our belongings had already been transported, our parents graciously allowed us to retain the TV and video games in the basement. Engaged in a gaming session once more, an inexplicable force struck the back of my head. Initial thoughts of my brother's mischief were dispelled as my gaze fell upon a red ball bouncing on the ground. Simultaneously, the door to the boiler room commenced a gradual and eerie closure. Mutual horror etched across our faces. My brother, and I sprinted upstairs, voices raised in shared panic. With parental curiosity piqued, they descended into the basement, only to return with a discernible silence hanging heavily in the air. Instructed to retreat to our rooms and await elucidation, we remained cloistered. A police car's arrival heightened the gravity of the situation, and yet the details remained veiled until after our relocation. The revelation unfolded that my father, in a moment of perplexity, grappled with the boiler room door, encountering a force, unseen yet palpable, resisting his efforts to pry it open. The residual fear in my father's voice as he recounted the experience remains etched in my memory. Despite my rational skepticism about the supernatural, the enigmatic occurrences in that basement continue to elude my comprehension, a mystifying puzzle that time has failed to unravel. And there you have it, 3 tales that remind us that sometimes the most terrifying things are not the monsters under our beds, but the ones lurking in our own basements.